But for right now, let's start with these 5. They're really great. I hope this was helpful and that you saw some things that you might like in your galley. So today I am canning my pumpkin pie pumpkin for pumpkin pies that I'll make later on the boat. I'm gonna do all the canning right here. I've got a pressure canner because for this, if you know anything about canning, for this kind of thing you would need to pressure can it. And I am gonna do it. So we'll start with this and we will end with a jar of pumpkin chunks. So the first thing I need to do is take this pumpkin and cut it, skin it, and make cubes. And then I'm gonna bring it over here to just a regular pot that I have set up and boil it. And then once it's tender, then I will add it to the jars, and then I will pressure cook it. So, or pressure can it. What is the technical term? I'm not sure. But today's a perfect day for it. There's sunshine. I might look a little funny, but that's okay because there's sunshine. Fall sun and pumpkins. Let's do it. Here I am. I have sanitized the jars first, and then took this had water, boiled it while I was boiling the chunks of the pumpkin. Then once they were tender, then the pumpkin was tender, the chunks, and these were dipped in hot water. I put all the lids in the boiling hot water so that was sanitized that way as well. And then I obviously did that with my tools too. And then I used my guy to, put it in there or whatever. So I got him with the headroom and all that stuff, right, that's needed for each one. And I came up from that pumpkin with 3 of these, and then I just need to put these in the pressure cooker and pressure cook them. If you know anything about pressure cooking, it's about getting the heat and things of that nature. I have an actual pressure, not cooker, a pressure canner. I don't have a pressure cooker because I don't need it. I just have the canner. And so that's what we use here aboard Yara. And so I will show you a little bit about what kind of that's like too. This wasn't gonna work, but I think it's working. So right now I am pressure canning pumpkin pie pumpkins in pint-sized jars. So I have our pressure cooker going now, and it's got its steam spout is going, and it's about 5 minutes, and then I will add the weight. But so far it's not quite. I need to turn it to medium though, or no, it needs to be on high. Anyways, so yeah, so this is it. It's in there and it's steaming, and I am so excited. I think I'm pressure canning for the first time on the boat. This is pretty freaking cool. This is like a dream come true. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, this is really cool. Thanks. Okay, so as well as pressure canning pumpkin, I also spent some time in the galley doing my own canned marinara soup. So got my jars ready But first, I have to make my own marinara first. So here is the ingredients that I use for my marinara, and I will leave a little bit of description down below. I do it differently literally every time. I don't think I've ever done it the same way, but it always turns out yummy. So let's get right into it. So here is the ingredients that I use. I've got cans of tomato sauce and tomato diced, whatever, or you can do fresh. I've done it with fresh too. That was really nice. Some garlic, minced garlic. You could do it with, of course, regular garlic and mince it however you want. And then I will chop a very large onion for that amount. If I did more, I might do 2 or 2 smaller or something of that nature. I have this garlic and onion salt. I have rosemary, Italian seasoning, and basil. And then here are my olive oils to start off my base. I've got a basil olive oil and a garlic olive oil. So these are all the things that I do to get going, so you can watch me as I do it. So first thing I'm going to do is take my onion and use my chopper to chop it. So let's get to it. So it's been simmering for probably maybe 2 hours now. I think it's just under 2 hours. And you can can it like this if you like a chunky marinara. I really like a smooth marinara. So I am gonna take my emulsifier and emulsify it. So I will get this guy plugged in and emulsify it and see if I can get the get the consistency that I want, and show you guys before we start putting them in these jars. Currently I have just some water on to boil, because I'm going to take each one of these jars and all their lids and give them a good dip for sanitation, and all of their, there's 3 of these little lidded guys too. So just for sanitation, just to make sure we're extra safe. So I've got that boiling, and I'm just going to finish up this, and then we can start jarring, and then get the the water bath ready to go. And I'll show you what that means, because we when we did the pumpkin, we pressure cooked or pressure canned it, and this time we're gonna do a water bath to can these because of they're more acidic, and they're not like meat or poultry or vegetables that they have a lot of acidity in them. So, because they're tomatoes. So I'm gonna get on it, and I am in no means a expert at canning, so if you are, you probably can do this in your sleep and better than me. But just to prove that those of us who are not canners still can, and can can on their boat. I'm feeling ready to start with the water bath. So I've got my setup here behind me, and let me show you the process. So you can see here I've got my canner. You could use a very large pot. You just need to be able to put, like I can use this pot to do pints. I'm doing these quarts, so I'm using I brought out the big canner that I use for my pressure canning. But if you were just doing pints, you could use one of these. You just have to have something lifting the glass from the bottom. So you could like use a broccoli thing. I don't know if you have a broccoli thing. I don't even know if you know what it means. But as long as you have a metal thing in the water that props it up so it keeps it from touching the bottom of the pot, you would be set to use any pot for this particular canning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scooper, I'm going to ladle in to the jars. These are already pre-dipped sanitized. That's all pre-dipped sanitized and warm still from the water, because you want warm since you're putting in warm into warmer. And in here in my canner I've got well, I've got one of the lids still going, but you can see there's a bottom that is actually a like a metal piece that's separate. So it's not the bottom of the pot. It's something that keeps it from the jars sitting directly onto the bottom. And then I have water in there. So I chose that amount of water because when you put your jars in, it leaves the jars not completely submersed, but submersed enough that that the contents in the inside will boil, which will help seal the lids. So if I'm saying that wrong, like I said, full disclosure, not an expert at this. So this actually made 2 jars, not 4. So what I'll do next is each one of these jars has, it probably would have made like 4 pints, but because there's just a tiny bit left over. But I wanted to use these quarts because that's what I do most of my times I use it. I need more than a pint. So now what I need to do is take these rims and a clean rag, clean the rims of these, and then put the flat lid and then the round thing on it, and then I will put it in the water bath for 40 minutes. So let's get to it. So 40 minutes with this boiling. I'm gonna take my canning, pull it out. So I did 40 minutes of boiling and then 5 minutes of rest time. And then we've got these ready. So I will be listening they do a pop sound, which they've kind of already done. Notice how none of these cans, oh no, this has got some wiggle. This doesn't. But, so they might do more popping. However, these are ready to sit overnight. And then the little extra that I had, I'll just put it in the fridge because I can't leave that unrefrigerated. And that, so that made 2 quarts. Would be more pints if you would rather use pints. You did not need to use a canner, a pressure canner. It's just a large pot to boil, as we talked about earlier. Am I an expert? Yet again, I will reiterate, no. But this is how I do our marinara, and Matt likes it. So I feel like that's a win, right? And also the pumpkin works well as well because we use it in our pumpkin pies. So, and get a little bit of life out of it too. So we will let these cool down to room temperature, and then I'll just put them in our pantry area and put the rest away, and know that I don't need to do this and get this when I go shopping at the store next. Zero marinara shopping until we use it. I could definitely do more of it, like if I was to maybe make it in here and do like fresh tomatoes and things of that nature. I could really up the game and make a lot more than this. But on a small boat with just the 2 of us, we don't use much. But you can on the boat on your own. So keep in mind what I've done. I'm not an expert. There's people out there who do amazing work and can and pressure can all sorts of things, and botulism is real, and so we should all have a official guide. This one is the Ball Blue Book, and this is what I use to make sure that I'm keeping to all of the standards for health and safety. We will use this a lot when it comes to canning our own fish that we catch. So, but at this point, you know, I'm doing things that are not as severe. But either way, you should always refer to a proper manual that will tell you exactly, scientifically, temperatures and all that stuff. So, do your research.